So today we're going to take a quick look. Is that okay? So today we're going to take a quick look at a Doom 2 map I'm working on. This is kind of an obsessive hobby of mine. I really enjoy kind of putting together entire worlds and, you know, just trying to, I gotta turn that down a little bit. Trying to recapture some of those feelings I had when, Doom was new and it was really exciting seeing this kind of pseudo 3D environment and all that stuff. Okay. I'm gonna start over. So today we're taking a quick look at a Doom 2 map that I'm working on. Doom 2 came out in 1994, but it was a very advanced game. The engine was very robust and flexible, believe it or not, for the time, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. So what I've been doing is slowly going through the original Knee Deep in the Dead shareware demo, and recreating all 9 of those maps from scratch. And when I say recreate, what I really mean is I'm kind of taking all the core ideas from those original maps and kind of, I guess restructuring them or reconstructing them in my own vein. Like, I'm not necessarily trying to be slavishly devoted to capturing the exact look and feel of the original levels, but rather trying to use the way that those levels were laid out and the way that they looked to try to achieve something that is my own, but is a very obvious homage to, to those old levels, because I played them a lot growing up, and they're really burned into my brain as to like how everything is laid out and where everything is. And I am not entirely new to mapping, but I'm still kind of learning how to make good maps. So remaking these maps in my own style, but kind of making them more detailed and expanding on them, is kind of just been a way for me to learn how to get better doing this sort of thing. And it's been teaching me a lot about game design as well, because a good level involves, a strong aesthetic, but it also involves a good layout and involves good interaction. And what constitutes good is not exactly easy to quantify, but it's something that you know it when you experience it. You might not be able to exactly break down the ins and outs of every single sector and line depth and placement of each thing and just all the stuff that goes into making a Doom level. But when it feels good, it feels good. It flows well, and you enjoy the environment. You enjoy moving through the environment, and you enjoy the combat that the environment can create. And if you fail to do any of these things, if you don't have good aesthetic, if you don't have good combat, if you don't have good layouts, then your level's going to be unbalanced, and the experience is going to be tainted by that. And so I'm trying to figure out, how do I make sure that everything I'm doing here is fun? Because sure, it's fun for me because I made it, but when other people play this, when I, upload it to a ModDB, which is a really cool site for uploading mods, it needs to feel generally like a quality experience. And it shouldn't be too hard, shouldn't be too easy, the level shouldn't be too big or too small. It should not be overly complicated or overly simple. There's all sorts of things that have to be taken into account. And, a good layout could be any number of things. There's an infinite number of ways that you could make a Doom map. And as long as I think as long as one has that feeling of like, I like moving through this environment. I like, you know, shooting and engaging in combat. I like figuring out the puzzles. Just you want to try to get to that place like that the original levels made you feel. And I'm not saying that I'm as good of a level designer as those guys were, or that this is like somehow going to elevate it above the original experience. It's an homage. Now I hope that people can find it to be somewhat comparable, you know. But I'm not a game designer. I am someone who has worked in game development as a composer. So I'm kind of, you know, because I'm also a visual artist, I think that I could potentially make some interesting and engaging experiences. And that's really all I kind of want at the end of the day, is to create an engaging experience. And and that's something that can be difficult because, you know, this is obviously a pretty deeply personal thing to me, because that's my favorite game series, and I like engaging artistically in an attempt to kind of, you know, do my own thing and show it to other people and have them experience it. And it would certainly be disappointing if people didn't enjoy it, but so far people that I've shown it to, like on forums and stuff, seem to dig it. And a handful of people have downloaded the other maps in this series, so, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about that. And I'm hoping that, you know, I can get a little bit of exposure, maybe I'm not necessarily thinking that somebody in the game industry is going to pick up on it. I really just want to show what I'm doing and hopefully have people enjoy it. That's really all it comes down to. So I think this is going to be a really fun level when it's pretty close to finished, and it's got a lot going on, and I hadn't played it in a while, so this is the first time I've played it in probably more than a month or two, maybe more, and it feels good. It's still holding up pretty well. Getting just a touch lost in it, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun when everything's said and done and it's out. There is a bunch of stuff I failed to do, so I still have stuff I need to do here. I liked designing this space here because it took a lot of work and was very, very time consuming, because making stuff in Doom from scratch is a fairly straightforward process, but if you want to do something that kind of stretches what the engine is capable of, you run into limitations pretty quickly, and the engine's age really starts to rear its head. So, like, for instance, something as simple as... Okay, it fell off that bridge. Something as simple as that bridge there is not something that the original engine was intended to be able to pull off. It's a very clever trick that is extremely hacky, and oh, I gotta hit that switch first, and looks really cool and has a functional purpose, but it's a pain in the ass to implement. There are more advanced versions of the engine that fans have made that allow for much easier implementation of this sort of thing, but this is a map that you can hopefully run in pretty much any version of Doom, because it doesn't use any advanced mapping format, which means that it's not really using anything beyond the baseline engine. So this says 4G. It's not a reference to 4 or 5G or anything. I just picked it, and I'll you know, show you what that means in a minute. It says open right there. You can also close it. I'm going to save here. That's kind of fun. I'm just going to keep it open, though, and let the chaos ensue. Okay, 4G, what does that do? So when I exit here, oh, look what happened. That area opened up. And also that's all crazy, and, you know, I like having the enemies transport in, because that can be a fun thing to add. So I'm about to die because that was dumb, but I wanted to show you that I opened up this area here because of the switch I pulled, and that actually goes outside. And I'm not going to spoil the whole thing here, but there's a whole outside area there that I don't want to explore right now because I'm on really low health and I don't feel like cheating. I just kind of want to show you how it's intended to be played. But yeah, it might be worth the risk because I stuck some goodies in it that you're only really going to be able to access if you're willing to try. Nope, that didn't work. So I'm just gonna go back out here and either try that again or go somewhere else. In fact, I'll just go somewhere else because I'm going to tease you. I want you to play it when it's done. I don't want to show everything here right now. But the 4G thing, that means something. I don't remember what, but I know what it was. That area I just went to is what opened up. The other area, the area that is required to be opened up in order to make any progress with the level, is a different G. It is a 7G, which is a reference to The Simpsons. The reference to Homer's sector. He works in Sector 7G. So I didn't do this earlier, but if you go all the way to the end of this kind of circular part of this base, it says 7G there. And when you hit that switch and go back, oh look, it's outside. You don't get to see it because this is just a preview. When you go back to not the complete beginning of the level, but pretty near it, there's this upstairs area and a hopefully pretty obvious switch here that actually takes you down here. And if you didn't hit that 7G switch, you wouldn't have access. You wouldn't be able to open this up. So it's pretty cool. And we'll end it right around here. I'm going to tease you with just a little bit more here because I kind of want to show off a little bit of lighting. All lighting has to be done manually in Doom. You can't like point a light somewhere and have it light up the environment like in modern games. You have to basically create a bunch of geometric shapes to create lighting. And this is something that I did a lot of in this area to contrast the fact that a lot of the other portions of the level were very bright. So it's fun to have these cramped, dark areas and to kind of creep in a little bit of the evil-looking stuff there, because that kind of implies that some kind of presence, some kind of evil presence might be there. So, it's a pretty powerful engine. You can do a whole lot with it. Making a map is somewhat trivial once you get used to it. It's just time consuming. But you can do a whole lot of cool stuff in a short amount of time, and that's what I like about it. So, if you tried to make something like this with Doom Eternal, it would just take forever. There's no official modding tools, for one thing, for doing that. And if you did have tools for constructing like 3D environments and stuff, it would just take forever. So just a really fun thing to work with, and definitely going to be doing more Doom stuff. So if you're a Doom fan, old school Doom fan, there's definitely going to be more of this kind of stuff where I'm just kind of showing what I'm working on and eventually do playthroughs and stuff. So see you soon.